everybody, my name is Anna and I am with WERC, the Wildlife Education and Rehabilitation Center in Morgan Hill. We are honored to be here thanks to the Santa Clara Audubon Society. We appreciate you guys putting on the Harvest Festival every year. Even with COVID going on, we're very happy that we can be a part of it, even though it is through video. But again, this is the next best thing. So what we wanted to do was tell you a little bit about WERC. Our main goal is to help sick, injured, and orphaned native wildlife so we can get them back out in the wild. We do specialize in birds of prey and also take in baby bobcats, we'll take in opossums. We hope to grow as a facility where we can take in a lot more species of animals, but as of right now we do specialize in birds. So we do get lots and lots of birds. Now sometimes these animals, when they come into us, they have injuries that prevent us from releasing them back out into the wild. And if that happens, sometimes we can have them become an animal ambassador. So they get to come out to schools, to events, and so the public get to see them, learn about them up close and personal, and maybe find a new appreciation for their wild neighbors. Because I know a lot of people love animals, they don't want to hurt them, but sometimes without knowing, they can actually be hurting their, the wildlife around them, or even sometimes, unfortunately, there are people who purposely hurt them, and that's why we're here to kind of help educate people how to live peacefully, coexist with these animals. I do have an educational ambassador that I want to share with you guys. I want you guys to meet Luna. Now, Luna is a great horned owl. She is a very uncommon owl that you will find here in Santa Clara County. Not the most common, but the second most common owl. The most common is actually our barn owls. Those are a very light colored owl, and actually smaller than Luna here, the great horned. But if you hear a hooting at night, that is going to be the great horn. If you hear a screeching, screaming sound, that's actually from the barn owl, the most common. Now, the reason why we have Luna and she's not out in the wild is she actually has something wrong with her beak. Now, of course, it's hard to see on her when she's not looking your direction, but I don't know if you guys did notice, her beak is crooked. Now, you may wonder, so what? A bird with a crooked beak? They can still survive out in the wild just fine. Well, birds' beaks are made out of the same material as your hair and fingernails. It's made out of keratin. And as you know, your hair grows and so does your nails, so you have to keep them trimmed up. So birds' beaks actually keep growing. But normally when their beaks sit just right, by opening and closing that beak, they keep it worn down to the appropriate length. Being her beak is crooked, they're not going to wear down the right way, so eventually her beak would overgrow, so she'd have a very difficult time eating. So we actually at WERC have to do what's called coping. We have to file her beak down for her so it doesn't overgrow, so she can still eat. Now, we can't release her back out into the wild and go outside, you know, when time comes around to trim her beak and say, hey Luna, can you please fly back to us? We need to trim your beak. Fortunately, it doesn't work that way. So that's why we have her, and again, she's not released back out into the wild. But again, hopefully, you know, now you guys see her, maybe you guys are going to be more aware that they are around you and they do live out in your own backyards. Great horned owls are great to have around. Again, these guys are a very important predator. They help control prey animals' numbers. They eat a wide variety of food, which includes small rodents such as rats, gophers, squirrels, rabbits. Rabbits aren't a rodent, but they will eat those as well. They will also eat other animals such as opossums. And they do eat other owls such as those barn owls we talked about. Again, they eat a wide variety of prey, but one of their most favorite foods are actually skunks. Now, you kind of might want to wonder, why would a great horned owl want to eat a skunk? They're pretty stinky. Well, birds of prey, like great horned owls, birds of prey are animals that eat other animals. So they only eat meat. they actually don't have a sense of smell. So a sense of smell isn't very important to them. So if they don't have a sense of smell, the skunk doesn't really have a really good defense to deter the great horned owl. So these owls will swoop down with their strong, powerful talons and can actually grab a skunk. Now, I do like skunks. I think they're quite cute, even though they might be a little bit smelly. But they have an important role too in our ecosystem. The issue is we want to keep their numbers under control, because if you have too many of one type of animal, it can cause a lot of problems. I'm sure a lot of people probably know that issue, especially with rats and mice. If you have a problem with them at your home, they'll come in to go after our garbage or even the food in our own houses. So that's why we actually want to encourage predators to come around to help control those populations so they don't get out of control and cause big problems. Unfortunately, people always want to take the easy way out. They think the easy way is always better. So instead of allowing predators like great horned owls to do their job, sometimes people put poison out into the environment. Even though they might not mean to hurt other wildlife, they just want to get rid of the rat and mouse problem. It actually affects the whole food chain and can actually hurt these owls along with other animals such as coyotes, bobcats, other animals that eat opossums. Again, a wide variety of animals get hurt by this rodenticide poisoning. So hopefully people will start to look into our alternatives, look on ways how to attract these predators instead of putting that poison out, so these guys can thrive. Great horned owls are pretty hardy predators. These guys are on the top of the food chain. Not many things hurts them except for, again, what people put out into their environment. Rat poison is very common. Sometimes they do get hit by cars, but their babies are actually the most vulnerable to getting hurt by other animals for a food source. So if the great horned owl parents aren't around to protect, raccoons can climb up into the nest. But once they reach adulthood, these guys are pretty much top predator. Nothing gets them. But again, they do get hurt by unintentional or intentional human interaction. So again, that's why hopefully by meeting Luna, you'll be more aware of what you're putting out in the environment.